Hi, hello, and good morning, afternoon, or evening to Dr. Baka and whoever's watching this video. Right, so my name is Ahmad Faiz bin Rahmat, and my metric number is 194340. And today I'm going to be presenting my second assignment, which is the lesson plan for LHE4210, Teaching of Writing Skills. Yep. Alright, so let's begin. Yeah. Okay, background of the lesson. So for this lesson, we are going to be teaching a total number of 28 Form 4 students of upper intermediate proficiency level. Yes. And this lesson is a non-textbook based creative writing, which is going to be focusing on poetry writing. And the topic is on experience. So the writing strategies which are involved in this lesson are brainstorming, free writing, revising, and editing. And the prior knowledge that the students are going to have is the usage of adjectives and figurative language in poems. Also, the teaching materials or references that we are going to be using in this lesson are PowerPoint slides, the poem itself, which is New York Poem by Terence Hayes, and also ambience sound from YouTube. Yeah. And cross-curricular element is language, and higher order thinking skill or HOTS is create. Then the thinking process is bridge map, and 21st century classroom teaching and learning are think, pair, share, and presentation. Yeah. So there are three learning objectives for this lesson. The first one is to formulate the first draft of the poem, illustrate the appropriate usage of figurative language in the poem, and express feelings and emotions in the poem through the use of adjectives. Yeah. And then we also have three success criteria. The first one is formulate the first draft of the poem to completion by 80% with the use of illustrations, text, and teaching aid as guide. Number two, illustrate the appropriate usage of figurative language in the poem intelligibly with the use of illustrations, text, and teaching aid as guide. And the third one is express feelings and emotions in the poem through the use of adjectives intelligibly with the use of illustrations, text, and teaching aid as guide. Yeah, so those are the background of the lesson for this lesson plan specifically. I'm sorry, that was my cat. Alright, so yeah, we're gonna move on to the set induction. So set induction is going to be running for 3 minutes, in which the teacher will first grade the class, and then teacher will ask students to clean the space, and then teacher will ask the students regarding past lessons on the usage of adjectives and figurative language in Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Yeah. And the teacher will also tell the students the objectives of the lesson. Alright, so the rationale of this stage, the set induction is to inform students on the lesson of the day. So we are trying to, make them aware of what are they going to learn and what are they going to expect. Sorry. Yeah. Then it is also to refreshes the students' mind on the contents of past lesson. So like when the teacher mentioned, okay, remember past lesson we did something with these adjectives and figurative language. Yeah. So perhaps that has already been, that will like sort of like set an expectation on, okay, this is probably what I'm going to learn today. Yeah. And then okay, pre-writing stage. Pre-writing stage is going to be running for 15 minutes, in which the teacher will first ask students on their familiarity, experiences, and journey of living or going to the city. Yeah. And then next, teacher will use PowerPoint slides to show pictures of tall buildings, city lights, traffic and subway congestion, and urban culture. And then the teacher will give up prompts to students regarding cities. So the first prompt is, in general, how would you describe cities? For example, cities are crowded. And then the second prompt is, what can you find in major cities? The third one is, would you describe cities differently if you're living in rural or remote areas? Number four, what do cities remind you of? For example, to me, Kuala Lumpur reminds me of the fastness of life. Everything needs to be done as fast as possible. And the last prompt is, if Kuala Lumpur, Toronto, and New York were to be humans, how would you describe them? For example, maybe New York is a businessman who drives expensive cars and eats fancy breakfasts. Yeah, so those are the prompts. And then, we're not finished. The teacher will instruct the students to brainstorm and free write their ideas of the prompts on a piece of paper for 8 minutes. Yeah. Then after they're done brainstorming and free writing, the teacher will then distribute a poem, which is the New York poem by Terence Hayes. Yeah. So the rationale for pre-writing stage is that it is used to tap students' schemata of their knowledge and experiences of going to the city. Hence the reason why the teacher uses the pictures of buildings, city scenery, city culture. It is to sort of like tap their knowledge on the content itself. Yeah. And then also prompts were used because it is crucial for brainstorming ideas, other than the pictures, the illustrations we use in the PowerPoint. So the teacher will also going to use prompts to help them with brainstorming. Yeah. And then example answers for prompts are given to the students as a heads up. So like they know on like how are they supposed to like answer the question, like how are they supposed to describe this specific question, and like are they supposed to write more or less. Yeah. And then time constraint is to keep students on their feet so that the students will not laze around, so they are always on guard. They are we have a limited time, so we have to do this, that kind of thing. Yeah. And that is the pre-writing stage, and now we are going to the writing stage, which is going to be running for 70 minutes. So firstly, the teacher will read aloud the poem with the students, the distributed poem for. Yeah. And then the teacher will then discuss the poem with the students in depth, emphasizing on the usage of adjectives and figurative language. Yeah. Then teacher will ask if any student has similar ideas on cities to the model poem based on the prompts earlier. Yeah, so like what the students need to do is that the students need to like compare their ideas and the model poem if they have any like similarities in terms of ideas, yeah, and stuff. And teacher will also ask students to draft their own free verse poems by referring to the model poem and the ideas of the prompts earlier. Yeah, so the student will then draft their own free verse poem by using the model poem as a reference and also the ideas from the prompts that they had pre-write earlier. Yeah. And then teacher puts on ambient city music to set the mood while the students are drafting their poems. This is just to help them. Yeah. Then teacher walks around the classroom to facilitate students. Yeah. So the rationale for this writing stage is that it introduces and discusses the contents of the poem. Like they had learned adjectives and figurative language in the past lesson. So what it does is that we are trying to like help them refresh their knowledge on that, but with a different text. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're talking about the same content, the same knowledge, but we are applying it to a different text. Yeah. And then this task, asking them to draft their own poem is pretty much a student-centered task, which is to help appreciate and own their creativity skill. Yeah. And ambient city music alongside the poem and illustrations will help students to be in that creative zone. We have the illustrations and we have the model poems. Now we have the what I call this ambient city music. It's just to help them get into that writing zone, just to make them imagine as if they are in that situation. Yeah. And then it also enforces teachers' role as a facilitator, by walking around, and not spoon feeding them everything. Yeah, so that's one. So now we are going to the rewriting stage, which is going to be running for 20 minutes. And the teacher will call for 3 volunteers to recite and briefly present their drafted poems. Then the teacher will respond to the presentation and provide feedbacks to the volunteers. The teacher will also then ask the other students to give their feedbacks to the volunteers. And then teacher will instruct students to be in pairs to do peer revision and editing to their first drafts. And of course, teacher will then walk around the classroom to facilitate students. Alright, so the rationale for this stage, the rewriting stage, is that I believe in a on-the-spot assessment. So it's a formative assessment. I believe that it is better in terms of like this kind of task because the students especially they enjoy listening to your feedback, especially with something that they have put a lot of thoughts on, kind of, yeah. So yeah, and also think that it would be the feedback will be clearer and better. Does it make sense? Yeah. Also, next is this task promotes inclusivity, where it invites everyone to give feedbacks and supports with their friends. So it's not just the teacher doing their job and just giving feedback, but the friends can also give their feedbacks on like what can be improved and what is good, things like that. And then peer revision in pairs works better for higher achieving students. So since this lesson is targeted for the upper intermediate level, which can be kind of said as higher achieving students. So the thing with this kind of students is that they enjoy working individually or in small groups. Yeah. So I feel like this task is well suited for them. Yeah, that's rational. And then pair work helps students to put out their ideas better. They are more comfortable talking to a friend than to a teacher. That's just how the students are. So by putting them together and discussing on what should have been written and whatnot could probably help them in terms of like coming up with like a very good writing, perhaps. Yeah. And then post lesson stage, which is going to be running for 5 minutes, which is the last stage. Teacher will ask students on what do they feel about the process of writing. Then teacher recaps the process of writing from brainstorming, free writing, drafting, revising, and editing. Then teacher will then ask students to rewrite their poems as homework. Number 4, teacher instructs students to showcase their poems on their Instagram accounts and tag their classmates and teacher on their posts. Alright. And then teacher will discuss the moral values with the students. Yeah. Alright, so the rationale for this stage is to get feedback from the students on their thoughts of the lesson. So giving feedback is enjoyable, but I feel like the teachers need to get the feedback too from the students, especially on the things that they had learned and the things that they had understand, sort of. Yeah. So I feel like that's very important to sort of like gauge the level of understanding. And then we have the next rationale is to assign homework. Yeah. And also with the homework, we are giving the students the autonomy to be creative with their own posts. So since it's a I feel like most students are now tech savvy, they are technologically literate. Yeah, sometimes they are smarter than you. So I feel like combining that part of their life and another part of their life, which is like school life, would be a great idea to sort of like entice their motivation. You know what I mean? Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so now I'll be showing you the teaching materials that are going to be used for this lesson. So note that there are 3 kinds of teaching materials. The first one is PowerPoint slides. Number 2 is the poem itself, New York Poem by Terence Hayes. And number 3 is the ambience CD music from YouTube. Yeah. So okay, this is the front cover of the, what do you call this? The front cover of our PowerPoint slides, yes. So yeah, and then yeah, we're gonna during set induction we're gonna ask them like what did we do last week? Then we did Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare and things like that. And then what did we focus on? Adjectives and figurative language, and then the teacher will start asking them about their familiarity on the cities, like the experiences of journey going to the cities or living in the cities. Yeah. And teacher will ask like, can you name these cities? Is that Kuala Lumpur, New York, Toronto? Then pictures of city lights, traffic and subway congestion, and urban culture. And then teacher will move on to giving them the prompts, the 5 prompts that we've mentioned earlier. Yep. And then after that, they will have to brainstorm and rewrite. Yeah. which is basically planning. Yeah, and then after everything is done, during writing stage, the teacher will discuss the poem, your poem, with the students. Yeah, so hence, yeah, yeah, and then they have to draft with music, of course. Yeah, I'll show you later. Then they have to revise and edit, and then during the post lesson stage, the teacher was gonna ask, what did we learn today, and then the teacher will then assign the homework. Yeah, and also like an instruction on how to do their homework. Like you have to rewrite your poem and post it in your Instagram account. Then you have to tag the teacher and your friends on your poem by using the hashtag maple series, so that it is easier for the classmates to find the poem. Yeah, then get creative with your post and have fun. Yeah, and that's the end of the slides. And then the next teaching materials is the music from YouTube. Yeah, this is video. Is it working? I hope it is. But it is, yeah, but I'll be putting the link in the appendices. Yeah. So apparently in this video, it's just a footage of people walking in rain in Manhattan, NYC. Yeah. Yeah, it's better to if you listen it in with this, what do you call this, earphones. But yeah, it's just to get the students in the zone, you know what I mean, in the writing zone. Yeah. So yeah, and another one is a poem. Uh, the poem is supposed to be printed out, but I didn't have it, obviously. Yeah, but this is a poem basically. Yeah, New York poem by Terence Hayes. Yeah, yeah, it's not very long. Yeah, and it's pretty modern too, so the students will. Yeah, it won't be very hard for the students to understand the poem. Yeah. So yeah, I think that is about it. Yeah, those are my. So that is my presentation, and I'm sorry if there's if I'm lacking of anything. Yeah, but I tried. Yeah, so thank you. Bye bye.